All right. Now, here we are again. It's Thursday. Hope everybody's had a fantastic week. I've been really excited about this session because I've got Ange Sinclair, our Digestive Detective. And I've known Ange for a little while now. With my health being the way that it has been the last 3 weeks, I've been very interested to hear what Ange has to say about our immune systems and how we can boost that. Welcome, Ange. Thanks for being here.
Hi, Kristy. How are you going?
Yeah, great. Thank you. I just wanted to let people know a little bit about you. I love that you're the Digestive Detective. I've always loved that about you, that quirky name. You know, I relate to that because of virtual elves, I guess. But
Yeah.
As a naturopath, you're helping women purge the pain, beat the bloat, get to the root causes of their digestive issues by educating and empowering them to be their own digestive detective. Now, I love that because it's empowering us to actually learn about it ourselves and be the people that control that. For the last 10 years, you've been actively engaged in helping the community with their digestive issues through nutrition, herbal medicine, and supplementation. So, where do we start on all of this?
It's a big topic. It really is a big topic. And I think one of the things it's really important for people to remember that good gut health means good immune health. And I think we forget that. And we also forget that our immune systems are a really complex system in our body. 70% of our immune system's in our gut, essentially. And basically our immune function essentially is to protect us against infection. That's what it does. That's its whole job. So it's made up from, most people think it's just lymphatic vessels, but it's also our organs. So our spleen, our thymus gland, our tonsils, they're all, and our lymph nodes, they're all immune system components. And people think, let's get our tonsils out. But what they don't think about is once they have their tonsils out, they no longer have that first protective barrier that helps us. So, you know, I often hear people say, I've had my tonsils out and every single time I get sick, it goes to my chest. Well, that people no longer have that barrier. And so people forget that. The other thing I think a lot of us forget is there's different things that impact our immune system. For example, we know emotions impact our immune system, and more than people think. So imagine we've just had all those bushfires, and then off the back of that, we're dealing with COVID. So imagine what that does to our immune system. So a lot of us already have a significantly depressed immune system just because of that factor. Not to mention also stress, really high stress, which a lot of business people are under, not knowing whether we're going back to work or not going back to work. So I think that's really important because it increases our adrenaline and our cortisol, and we can't, unless you're actively doing something to get that down, it takes a long time to reduce it. So while that's happening, our gut and our immune system is really struggling.
Yeah.
For a better word. Probably the biggest reason I see for immune system dysfunction is nutrient deficiency.
Yep.
And especially not so much right now, but a little bit. People are eating too much sugar. Sugar is definitely known to depress our immune system. And I think a lot of us have got fridge problems at the minute. We just keep walking to it. I know that's been a real issue for me. What's in the fridge? I'll just go for a look. Whereas at work, I would eat one meal while I was there, and then I'd have one breakfast and one dinner. So I find that a lot of us are snacking a little bit more than usual. The other thing is alcohol, and I know this is a biggie because I was looking at my husband's in property, and he was telling me about what is it, BWS? Is that what it is? Beer, wine, and spirits?
BWS, yeah.
But their growth in this period has been humongous.
Huge.
So I know that people are definitely taking on more alcohol. So one of the things is it depresses our white blood cells. So we really have to be mindful of how much of that we're having to make sure our immune system's, running as it could, So probably,
interesting.
Yeah. So I think there's a few easy things that we can change around there. But for me, I think the single biggest thing for me with immune system is to remember all the tenements of good health. So making sure we're getting enough sleep. And you and I have just chatted about this now on the backside. That sometimes that's quite difficult. And I've noticed with the clients that I've had over this sort of period, because we were in lockdown for since the end of Feb, it's people aren't sleeping for no apparent reason. And I think it's because there's in the community there's an underlying level of anxiety. People aren't sure. We're all a little bit fearful. So I think that one of the things, how calm our nervous system is really important. And that underlying anxiety, is really tricky for us to manage. And even though we think we still have that, underlying level around quite often. So what are we doing for self-care? Because I know when things get, fearful or a bit scary or are really stressed, our stress levels are high, the first thing that goes to pot is our self-care practice.
Completely.
We don't give ourselves that bath, or we don't go to that yoga class, or we have that extra half a block of cheese, and I'm guilty of that. So they're things that, my husband's instigated Friday afternoon drinks, and we eat half a block of cheese, and I said, we got to stop this Friday afternoon drinks. Get healthier snacks, one or the other. So they're really important things. How we're moving, are we going for a walk every day, or are we just doing some simple stretches or yoga moves? More than walking from the lounge to the fridge, we need to incorporate more high intensity. And I see that you were learning a new skill, riding a mountain bike. So that's terrific.
Oh, yeah. I did that for about a week and a half until I then got sick, and then I haven't picked it back up again. So it's the consistency. But, the idea was there, the effort was there, and I will pick that back up again. But you're absolutely right. The minute you feel stressed, I mean, I can certainly relate to this myself, just this last 2 weeks of just feeling a little bit uncertain. Business has changed. There's the phone's not ringing as much anymore. There's a lot going on. Kids started back at school this week. That adds another level of, someone that you've got to look after that's not yourself. And I absolutely realized. I had a phone call yesterday with a good friend of mine, and she's the ever-present business coach in my life, and she said to me, it's great, Kristy, that you're doing all these little business jobs and you're getting things done, but what are you doing to use your right brain? Like, what sort of creative stuff you're doing that isn't driven by routine? And I said, I'm doing paint by numbers. And she goes, yeah, but that's following a process. What are you doing that's just wild and crazy? And you're just letting yourself go and not having to follow a process. I'm like, oh God, yeah, I'm hopeless like that. And that's part of self-care.
It is. And I think the other thing that people forget about self-care is, it doesn't cost any money. We've just got to take the time to put it in. And self-care to me should be, it should be an automatic practice. It should be something that we do with intention, whereas a lot of us don't. We go, we'll slot that in here when I get a minute. And we all know we never get that minute. That's quite frustrating as a practitioner, because I see people who come to me that have these chronic gut issues or chronic anxiety issues, and you just think you never take one moment for yourself. Never one moment. And I think that's problematic, because your health really does impact on that. Probably the only other thing I'd say about our lifestyle and things like that is find things that make you laugh. Because when you're laughing, it's a physical impossibility to be in fight or flight, which a lot of us are from the fear factor and, the stress factor. So if we can laugh and have something that's funny to us, we can't be in that fight or flight response, which I think is a really great thing. And that's easy to do. Find a funny movie to watch, dance. The disco dance is always good at our house, because our teenagers go, oh, Mum, for real.
I love it. But you're right, because you see all the Facebook feeds, right, at the moment. There's so much humor in it. So much humor, and that's what keeps us sane. That's what keeps us going throughout the day. We need that escape, of what's the serious and what's actually going on, because you're right, you then fall into the anxiety. And I was speaking to somebody yesterday, and he said to me, look, Kristy, I'm really struggling with just the noise and the stuff that's out there. I'm feeling really, really anxious. I don't know what to do next, and I think because of all of that, you're right, it leads to bad decisions in how you eat, how you look after yourself, for sure.
So we're having a couple of extra drinks to get us to sleep at night, and a couple of extra coffees to get us awake. So that really is problematic. And I think the other thing is that I've noticed on social media, learn a skill, write a book. That's BS. Take this time to nurture yourself. Take care of yourself. There is that low level anxiety. Trying to learn a skill or a language or anything on that is just going to exacerbate that, and we don't need it. Seriously, if you want to learn a language, do it, but do it over a long-term time. Don't do it. Don't do it just because
everyone says you should be.
Yeah,
and I agree with that. Like, it frustrates me to no end. If you don't want to do something, don't do it, and don't feel like you have to do anything. This is my biggest thing. I easily jump on that bandwagon every now and then, right, with the various groups that we're a part of, and kind of go, oh yeah, I need to do this, and I've got a goals group, and I've got this, and I've got that, and then you just get so overwhelmed by having to do everything for everyone. You just kind of go, what the hell? I don't want to do anything, and then I retreat completely and do nothing. And that's not good for your system.
Yeah, and I see that in people in clinic as well. So naturopathically, when it comes to what you can do, so things that I recommend, easy things. And I've given you a handout. So a lot of the foods, I won't run through all of them. You can download the handout. So if you want to download the handout, you can. I'll ask you for your name and address. Feel free to unsubscribe once you've got it. I won't take it personally. I won't be offended. So some things I recommend. Have your diet as colourful as you can get it. Eat as many fruit and veg as you can fit in. I recommend most people have 30 to 40 different vegetables a week, and most people go, is there that many? There actually is. So because what we know for sure about our gut bacteria is that different colours feed different bacteria. So if you only have broccoli every night as your, and I know that a lot of certain health groups just have broccoli, that's their vegetable of choice, you're missing out on feeding lots of other gut bacteria. So I think it's really important to get it as colourful as you can. We talked about diets high in sugar, so stay away from processed foods as much as you can and try and have whole foods, and that's pretty easy. The next thing would be to try and have cooked and raw foods, because, for example, for vitamin C is available in lots of foods, but the minute you start to cook it for a long period of time, it loses its vitamin C. So vitamin C is one of the things that we know right now in this pandemic is really good for nurturing your virus system, your immune system. But trying to find vitamin C in the shops, impossible, because everybody's heard that vitamin C is a thing and it's not available. So there are many, many foods that vitamin C come in. And I think that's important to remember. The other thing that I really love is fermented foods. And I don't suggest people eat stacks of them because they don't agree with everybody. And I always say start low and go really slow because people react to them quite significantly. So things like sauerkraut, kimchi, kombucha, although kombucha is not my favorite, but it's there nevertheless. Because they keep our gut bacteria, our gut barrier in really good shape. So if that stays in good shape, our immune system will stay in good shape. Having a garden that you grow herbs and spices in. We know basil, oregano, thyme, ginger, turmeric, all of those sorts of things have antibacterial and antiviral properties. They've been around forever and ever and ever. So we know that they work. So if you don't have a garden, now's a really nice time to just chuck it through, which is what I did on the weekend, through a few seeds, and I've been waiting for it to rain. And we finally got some rain here this morning. So hopefully I'll get some more herbs growing. So they're the bulk of the basic stuff. I'd say. Bone broth, if you can get bone broth, or even if you make bone broth, it's full of amino acids that really protect your immune system and also your gut. And if anybody's ever had a Jewish grandmother make you chicken soup when you've got are cold. Well, they're very clever because one of the amino acids in chicken soup is cysteine. And so cysteine helps break down mucus. So that's why when you have chicken soup, if you've got a really snotty cold or a really heavy sinus problem, it gets better because the cysteine in it breaks down all that mucus. Things like green tea is really great because there's been a study in 2016 that says if you gargle green tea, it will help you decrease the risk of influenza. So there you go. Right now you're doing it. So you're ahead of the game.
I have two or three of these a day. Yeah,
which is fantastic. And in that size cup, that would be the right amount because they say you need 5 or 6 to protect you against cancer and other things. So because they're full of antioxidants, but they're little Japanese cups. So a big cup like that, 2 or 3 is perfect. So vitamin C foods, try and get as many as those in. The other food there's 2 other foods that I recommend. One is zinc foods. We know that zinc is a really powerful immune booster. And so I like to start everything with food. I love food. And I think food is, for most people, they don't think enough about the sorts of food they eat. For me, food is joy with my family, with my friends. With gut health, I think food is the place to start. It's really the place that you can get most bang for your buck. It's easy to take a supplement, but it's not really going to do what it needs to unless your foundational food is right. So I think that's always important for people to remember. So zinc, pumpkin seeds are really great, and they can be added to a stack of stuff. Meat, oysters are really fantastic amounts of zinc. So all stuff that's relatively easy for us to buy, right now. So I think food-wise, they're the important ones. The last one I would say to you is mushrooms. Mushrooms are super boosters, and we can get them relatively easy enough. If you've got a Harris farm near you, they have mega amounts of different mushrooms. All mushrooms have some immune system properties and medicinal properties. Even the little Swiss browns have some medicinal properties. So it's worth eating those when you can. Right now the really big ones are in season. And we've been making pizzas out of them. And they're fantastic. Because I don't eat like a bread base. So having the really big mushrooms has been fantastic to make pizza bases out of. So that sort of stuff is really easy to include in our diet.
I love it. That's great. And for those people that were asking about the download, it will be in the notes, in the comments once we've finished. So don't worry, you won't miss out, or you haven't missed out on receiving the link to that.
And then moving on to supplements, I think I won't spend too much time on it, but some of the ones that you can get are vitamin C. Before I tell you that, probably the thing that I would say to you, don't buy them from the supermarket because most supermarket supplements don't have a therapeutic dose. And they tend to fill the capsules with a lot of crap to make them full, essentially. I always have this motto, don't buy your supplements where you buy your toilet paper. That's good. So some of the things that I recommend is vitamin C, if you can get it. And you need up to about 3 grams a day, which is quite a significant amount. You will know if you've taken too much vitamin C, though, because your bowel will let go, which is not good. The other thing, though, there's an old naturopathic tradition that if you feel a cold coming on, you dose yourself every 15 minutes with 1,000 IUs of vitamin C, which is generally 1 capsule. You can save a cold from coming on.
Wow.
So you've got to go to bowel tolerance, and then they say that you shouldn't get that cold after that. I've never been game to do that. So
no. I can't think of anything worse.
So zinc in a supplement, there's a really great one that you can buy from your chemist called Sambucol. The zinc and elderberry. So zinc and elderberry have both been shown to be helpful with COVID. So that's one that I recommend. It's really inexpensive, and they're quite tasty as lozenges. The next one that I love, but I have bad memories of it as a kid, is cod oil.
Oh, yes.
Do you remember that?
I do.
So why I love these ones is because both it's high in vitamin A, which is for infection and immune system health, and then vitamin D, which is, we know that vitamin D regulates our immune system and is great with any sort of respiratory issues like asthma or even allergies. So one of the things I would say to you is try and get into the sun every day in the middle of the day if there's sun, because I think that's really important to help us boost our immune system. Because we had the bushfires this year, and I've noticed it in blood results that I work through, I'm seeing lots of people who are vitamin D deficient.
Yeah.
Generally, I don't see it till the other side of winter, but this year I'm seeing it quite early before we actually go into winter. And that's because we all spent so much time inside because there was so much smoke and debris. We haven't had that same sun exposure that we usually do. And vitamin D regulates our immune system, so we really need to have that. The other thing I think you can do is medicinal mushrooms. You can buy them as capsules or supplementation or tea even. And I think they're a really good product. And they taste pretty good as well. The two other immune builders that I'll talk about, and then that's probably the bulk of it. One is olive leaf, which you can buy from the chemist. And I stumbled across olive leaf before I was a naturopath. In the way that that happens is you go to the chemist, you get the thing. Like I had 3 kids under 3, so we had years of where when the first one went to daycare, we had rolling sickness. Everybody in the house, one would get better, and then everybody else would go down. When I found olive leaf, stopped the cycle. When I worked in a health food shop, I would say to people, they'd come in and they go, I've got 2 kids at daycare and this is really killing me. And, because you can buy a kid's one, you can buy an adult's one. And they'd come back and go, oh my God, I can't believe how that's changed our life. So that's a really good one prophylactically. And also the other one that I want to talk about is Armour Force. So for a lot of people, okay, everybody loves Armour Force, but a lot of people take it in the wrong way and it reduces its effectiveness. So a lot of people take Armour Force all the time as a preventative. So how Armour Force works best is if you take it when you get, if you feel something coming on, you can take a double dose of it, and then the next day you probably will just take the normal dose and you should be okay. Whereas when you take it forever hoping not to get sick, it doesn't so what it does, andrographis actually talks to our natural killer cells and turns them on so they can fight infection. When we take it all the time, we're forever turning those killer cells on. They're not as effective. So I think the other thing that people don't realize about andrographis is it's one of the herbs that the TGA gets most complaints about because people have high reactivity to andrographis, with and reactions. So it's one that I say take when you need it, but don't take it all the time, because eventually you can strike up a reactiveness to it. So it's one that I love and everybody else loves, but I think try and do it the way it's meant to be taken, and you'll get better results with it. You won't stay as sick as so quickly. So I
love Armour Force. We and we do take it like that. We have for years, because when the kids did feel a little tickle in the throat coming on or whatever, I'd just make them take a dose of that for 2 days, and then it wouldn't ever eventuate into anything else. It'd be 1 or 2 days of not feeling so good, and then we'd be absolutely fine. So that has been fantastic. And also the olive leaf extract, I have to say that we found that when the kids were really young as well, and we used to take that with echinacea. And the echinacea drops, and that was brilliant. That literally would stop everything in its tracks. So there's a lot of really, I think there's a lot of herbs and natural foods and things out there that can really support us. It's just, I think because there's so much out there, it's knowing what is the right thing. And I think that's where somebody like you comes on board, because not everybody needs the same thing. And, that's one thing that I've certainly found after, getting naturopathic help in that my symptoms, when I talk to friends or whatever, about menopause, for example, my symptoms are so totally different to what anybody else is experiencing. So therefore, when my naturopath says to me, Kristy, what's your number one priority right now? What is the number one thing that's causing you the most pain during this time? And for me, it's my joints and not being able to sleep and feeling totally tired and depressed, right?
Yeah, totally.
So I need something different. I need a lift in my progesterone to give me the happy hormones, and, you know, I need something that's going to help the pain of the joints, whereas other people need something totally different. So I think that's, you know, so the thing here is, you know, how do people then work out the right pathway for them? Obviously, you've got a great pathway that they can check out.
Look, I think the best way is start with food. You know, I'm all about food. Start with food. You can build on once you get your foundation right. You know, if you're having, and I see this in clinic when people come and sit down and they've got a really bad gut and they sit down in front of me and say, I don't need to do your food diary because I eat the same thing every day. That's problematic.
Yeah.
You know, because if you're eating exactly the same thing over and over and over again, you're not feeding the complex gut bacteria that you have. We have about between 130 and 150 gut bacteria each. It just, you know, if you're only feeding a small portion of them, your immune system's not going to work right. Your hormones aren't going to work right. You know, your neurotransmitters aren't going to work right. You're going to feel anxious and depressed because you're not having that variety that you need. And I see for most people, they don't have that variety that they're looking for. So that's the place I say to people, make it easy for yourself. Start with food. Now I get people ringing and saying, oh my God, I really didn't realize how many colors there are when it comes to food. You know, fresh food, if you really pay attention to that and and I say to people, have fruit and veg for breakfast. Try and get some component of fruit and veg for breakfast, because this breakfast in particular lets a lot of people down. You know, like they'll have a bacon and egg roll. No fiber in that. And most people need to be, for women, we need to be eating about 28 grams of fiber, which is a lot when you see it on a plate. Most people, and that's just to have good health. That's not to have good gut health. That's just to have good health and have no, you know, chronic conditions. And most people I see in clinic are eating around between 7 and 15. So we're well short of those things. You want a good immune system? Eat lots of fruit and vegetables. That's probably the easy answer. Then once you've got that in place, then step it into the supplementation levels.
Yeah.
You can go.
Well, I'm really excited to do your kimchi, you know, to make that up. And I bought cabbage the other day, and you know, just little things like that I can just add a tiny little bit of kimchi every day to my diet to help, you know, the gut bacteria. Just little things like that, you know, that we know but we don't do. It's just it's forcing a habit. It's basically preparation. And, you know, the one big thing that I've learned certainly this last week or so is that I'm really, really terrible at preparing good food when I'm stressed and tired, and you know,
and you're like Robinson Crusoe with that. Everybody is.
I know that, right? So everyone's in that position. So you know, I've taken some steps to make it easier. I've got HelloFresh now. That food's not excellent, you know. I know that, you know, but I tell you, last night we had, you know, beetroot and sweet potato and carrot and spinach and chicken and pesto and, you know, all these great things in the salad, you know. So it's better than having just spaghetti bolognese, for example, you know, that doesn't have all of that.
Yeah. Although my suggestion to you, if you are a family that loves spaghetti bolognese and your kids love spaghetti bolognese, just add stuff. You know, zucchini, carrot,
chop up mushrooms. We grate mushrooms, and we grate zucchini, and we grate, you know, all sorts of things. I don't even know what's in there.
It's funny because liver is really good for. It's really high in vitamin A, and so vitamin A is great for our immune function. So I was having a chat to my kids the other day, and they said, "We've never eaten liver." And I went, that you know about. And so then this went on a couple of months ago, and then they'd say, which meal was it in? Tell me which meal it was in. I said, oh, my secret. I said, and one of them goes, well, I wouldn't eat it. And I said, but you ate it and you liked it.
Interesting.
I don't understand. It's just a thought, Mum. It's just a thought. And I went, okay.
I think that's funny, isn't it? Because my daughter refuses to eat spinach leaves. She hates the spinach leaves. And yet she wanted to cook dinner the other night, and it had spinach leaves as part of the salad, and she put it in and she ate every single spinach leaf. And I said, see, it's because you lovingly cooked it that you
Correct.
decided to eat it. And I
And I
said, just
think that,
because I cook it.
and that's really important for mums with
Yeah.
fussy kids to remember too. Get the kids involved in it, because the more the kids will do, the better they'll eat stuff. I think to wrap everything up together, the things that we need to think about for our total health right now is to move every day, to have a positive mindset, to sleep as best we can, you know, to stick in a routine where we're going to bed at the same time, getting up at the same time, and focus on food. You know, they're the easy things that we can do. Make sure you're getting downtime for yourself, and that's, you will have a decently good immune system if you can carry out all those things. They do sound easier than they are, though.
I know, but
So
it's,
that's worth having.
it's great advice, you know. And so there's a couple of things, everyone, that I will pop into the comments at the end of this chat, and that's the link that's up on the screen at the moment to download the food list of all the foods, which I will be doing at the end of this as well. And you can see Ange and everything that she does on her website. And there's a lot of great resources there. You can reach out to her. I know that she's got some really special things going on as well with consulting and just getting that deeper level advice, which is fantastic. So please do that. I also just want to reach out to those people that have been online with us today. Thank you so much. Lorraine, I love that. Cod liver oil, that was our threat. We were sick and needed to stay home. We soon became well again. I hear you on that.
Yeah, we all
at my age, I was threatened.
Say, you have to be of a certain age to appreciate that, but I get it, all right?
Yeah, absolutely. And Tiny, thank you. Lovely to see the two of you, and a great topic too. Me and my family is into healthy living now. That's lovely, you know, fantastic. So thank you, everyone. If you're watching this after we've gone live, please do make comments, ask questions. Ange is there to answer any questions that you may have. Yeah, thank you. But thank you. That was so valuable. Definitely very relevant right now. I think everybody needs to listen to this and kind of take one small thing away, and that is start with food. That's definitely going to be my little thing. I don't run to and from the fridge at the moment. I'm filling my days with sitting and, you know, getting up and doing a bit of exercising, and it's not to the fridge. So I'm happy about that.
Yay, winning.
All right. Well, thank you so much again. It's really lovely to see you, and hopefully the next time we chat, everybody's got some little bit of improvement in their diet that will help them beat this horrible virus.
Beautiful. Thanks, Kristy, for having me.
Thanks. See you.